Hey everyone, Elvis here again. Today we have some exciting release from Anthropic. So they're releasing Cloud 3.5 Sonnet, and now this is the new iteration on the Sonnet model. So we're going to go over the details, the performance, and so forth. And we're also going to play around with this model because it's already available in the cloud application. We're claiming that it raises the bar for intelligence, outperforming competitor models and Cloud 3 Opus. Opus is one of their most powerful models or capable models. And they're also focusing on speed and cost of their mid-tier model Cloud 3 Sonnet. So compared to this model, it's apparently a lot faster and also more cost efficient as well. So you can see here, this chart shows how it moves from this point all the way to up here. And, we get better intelligence, and also the cost apparently remains a lot favorable, right? If you're a developer using this, you also care about the cost, not only the capabilities. So it's an increasing capabilities for a really good cost. And in terms of cost, they are saying that it's going to be $3 per million input tokens. So that's on the input tokens, and $15 per million output tokens. So that's on the output one. And this comes with a 200K token context window. It's available via Anthropic API, Amazon Bedrock, and Google Cloud's Vertex AI. Also, 3.5 Sonnet is free to use, and they're available for free on cloud.ai. So we're going to use it and show you some examples of what it can do, and the Cloud iOS app as well. They say here this is the frontier intelligence at 2x the speed, right? So the speed is a lot better, and it performs well on lots of different benchmarks like graduate level reasoning, undergraduate level knowledge. So this is MMLU. It has coding proficiency as well, and a lot more. It can understand complex instructions. It has humor, grasping nuance. All of these things, obviously, we have to test for. So Cloud 3 Sonnet operates at twice the speed again of Cloud 3 Opus, which is one of their best models from the prior release. This performance boost combined with cost-effective pricing makes Cloud 3 Sonnet ideal for complex tasks such as context-sensitive customer support and orchestrating multi-step workflows. So the first thing that came to mind, and this is something I am interested in and doing a lot of research on, is agentic workflows, right? Because agentic workflows, you have to iterate, and there's all these loops that you have to perform. And so I think having the best model that can do that in a cost-efficient way is very necessary, because some of these workflows, they require you to generate a lot of text to be able to do planning and so on. And also, it must be fast, right? In a lot of cases, obviously, you can pause the system or have a delay in the system, but in a lot of cases, you want that information to come in as fast as possible, right? And you want a model that's able to reason and be able to generate text really fast. So I'm excited about what's possible with Cloud 3.5 Sonnet with these agentic workflows. They say it's for some internal agentic coding evaluation that they perform, it solves 64% of problems. So this one is testing the model's ability to fix a bug or add functionality to an open source code base, given a natural language description of the desired improvement. So that's kind of their internal test that they're doing. And they compare with Cloud 3 Opus, which solved only 38%. So that's a significant jump in performance. Okay, so these are the main results here. As I mentioned before, they are testing on things like MMLU, human eval, which is code reasoning. All of these are different benchmarks or common benchmarks that are used. And I think what's more interesting here is the comparison with Cloud 3 Opus, which is their prior model, and also GPT-4o. That's to compare it like Llama 3, Llama 400B with the early snapshot, and Gemini 1.5 Pro. And so you can see the performance here. These are amazing jumps in performance, right? So as an example, on GPQA, which is graduate level reasoning or testing for that, you can see how it performs with 59.4 compared to 53.6, which is the previous, I believe, state of the art, which GPT-4o has. And you can see how this model significantly outperforms both Cloud 3 Opus and this other one. For MMLU, obviously, GPT-4 is also a great model for that, right? This reasoning, math reasoning capabilities also outperforms on the other things that it's testing for, with the exception of the math benchmark, which is again about math reasoning, math problem solving. You can see GPT-4 is really a great model for that. So if you want to do like quantitative analysis or need math problem solving capabilities, I think GPT-4 is a really good model for that. It has been optimized to be able to perform really well on those benchmarks. So that's it for the results as a summary of it. They also introduce vision capabilities for these models, and this is the part that's really exciting for me. What's possible to do here? We are taking everything that you can do with these language models, and then you're combining with vision capabilities as well. I think that could enable a lot of different complex applications, and I'm going to show you some of the ways that I'm testing these models, and I'm excited to show some of the results also with the Claude 3.5 Sonnet and where it performs well and where it doesn't. So you can check out the video on your own. This one is taking in images, analyzing them, and converting those images into like data. So converting to JSON format for you, which you can download, and you can do lots of different things. So you can iterate on these images, right? And ask it to reason about it and understand images and maybe perform analysis as well. So these are some of the results for the vision capabilities part. And one of the new and exciting features, this is artifacts. This is the one we will be testing. And basically they provide an interface where you can generate things like code snippets, text documents, and website designs. And it actually provides a preview for you right within the window. So alongside the conversation, you will see this little window. You can see it here. It generates the text for you and then generates whatever it is that you're trying to generate. It's a presentation or if it's an image, whatever that may be. And you can iterate on that right within the interface. You don't have to go outside the interface. This is really powerful, I think, for like educational purposes. Like if you're a creator, for instance, trying to design visual artifacts, I think this is really powerful. There's also a statement on safety and privacy. Please check that out as well. And obviously, they are going to be iterating on their Haiku models and Opus later this year as well. They mentioned it here. There is going to be a more complete Cloud 3.5 release eventually. And I'm excited to see some of the performances there and also speed, right? Keep in mind that the Sonnet is, I believe, between Haiku and Opus. I think Opus was their best model previously. And so that's why they were comparing with that. So, we might get more and more capabilities as well. But I'm interested to see in terms of costs, right? How these models can be improved. The speed of them as well is really important. So those are things I'm checking as a developer. Let's jump now into some examples. I've already kind of played around with it, and I'll just show you very quickly here what I've tried. So the first thing I wanted to do was, it's something that they tried, which is this 8-bit generation. And I can ask it to create an 8-bit Luigi and just ask it that. Then it generates, gives me an explanation. I don't know if I need all of that, but anyways. And then it generates an SVG. And then if I click on that, you can see that it gives me a preview here, right? So it gives me a preview of that. And then I can ask it, like, can you do a Wario in the same style? So now I can hit on this one, and you can see that it generated what looks like a Wario. If you play Mario games, that looks really neat, right? And also it gives you the code, right? So you can directly take this code and use it wherever you want to use it. But I like the fact that you can iterate right here within the window on anything that you're working. You get a preview of it. I think this is like a collaborative type of interface with this AI system, and I think that's where most of this effort is going. Want to use this for education purposes, so I ask it to do an explanation of matrix multiplications and give me some examples of that. I think the presentation was nice because you can interact with it, right? Like if you're reading this, it's harder, I think, to learn what it's generating, what the language model is generating. But if you had it in this format, I think it's a lot better. You can learn a lot faster, right? I learn a lot faster visually, so I like this format, which is like in slides, and it's generating this with JavaScript, I believe. Then it has this example. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the results here, but it looks like it's a bit off, and it will get those off, right? Like when it generates like maybe like numbers or elements or different components like that, like visual components. I noticed it doesn't do so well there, and you will see some examples later on where I try to generate like SVGs within the presentation itself. But the presentation, I think, is a great addition already because I can iterate on this, and I'm pretty sure I could improve this if I prompt it better. Right? So I just wanted to test the capabilities right off the bat on things that I'm interested in using. And this would be nice, right? Like if I have a friend or a cousin or something like that that wants to learn a little bit about this, then I can quickly generate this and share it with them. And I'll be obviously verifying that the information is correct because I still don't trust whether the model is presenting accurate information and whether those examples are correct. But having a good starting point here would be really, I think, an amazing and makes me a lot more productive as an educator. Really like this one. And I asked it for generate a presentation of Anthropic in this case, and it gave me a presentation on Anthropic. I noticed that it didn't have the image capabilities here, like it has a placeholder. So basically what it expects is that you would add the images yourself, right? And so it does talk about the Anthropic, right, and the history of that. And I also generated another one for OpenAI, and this one I really like. So let me see if I can open that here. I'll go back again. All right, so I'm going to click on the presentation again. It generates code, and so the birth of OpenAI, right, was founded in December by Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and others, with the pursuit of AGI, and then the initial research focus. And then it has like GPT series begins, transition to cut profit, and then GPT-3 revolution, and DALI, and then partnerships and integrations, ethical considerations, looking at the future, and so on, right? So it has some kind of summary of that, which is really nice. And this is, again, very educational, very helpful if you're doing analysis on companies, what they have done, and you want to understand their history. I think this is really great. Now, one thing you can do here is try to incorporate all types of like information, right? That will be powerful. I think incorporating things like if it's a public company, value of that company, the stock price of it, and other things. Maybe even incorporate things like from social media. That's, I think, the future that we are heading into, where you can do analysis, fast analysis of information and different concepts out there using these technologies. I want to show you a few more examples here. Those ones about were presentations, right? Generating those presentations. Something I really wanted to try here was trying to generate a presentation, but also ask it to generate images. But somehow it wasn't able to generate images. In the initial iteration of this, it just gave me a placeholder, right? So it just gives you a placeholder, assuming that you will replace it with an image, right? So, but this is great, right? If you had a presentation, you can just add that yourself. So it's a little bit of collaboration going on with the system here. But I also generated a second version here, and I asked it to add SVGs, right? Because SVGs, you can, it's in code, and maybe it can encode that visually, right? Whatever concept it's talking about. And so you can see here for perception, it has these visual representation here of the perception. I don't think that's entirely accurate, but okay, it has one for adaptive linear element as well. I don't know. Again, if it's that accurate, I would say I would do it a little bit different or represent it a little bit different. Um, but anyways, it has the multi-layer perception, which again, you can see how it has these connections. And yeah, I think it looks like a multi-layer perception to some extent, but I would visualize it a bit different. As I would add more details to this, like what's the connection and so on, right? What are the operations that are happening for it to be more accurate? But already, I think this is looking really good. And then for convolutional neural networks, it has the main components, but it doesn't have the connections. Maybe that's something that you can iterate here on the interface to add those connections. And then also for long short-term memory, it has like the main components, like input memory, output, and so on, but the connections are not there. The operations and all those stuff are really important. Again, maybe I can iterate on this using this interface. And I believe this gets a lot better, right? Maybe this system as it is cannot really represent visual components like this, really well. And you provided it some, image of an equation. I get questions a lot about this, and I want to provide people like a more intuitive explanation. I have my own explanation. I think it's too technical, but I wanted to provide something that provides better intuition and it's easier, right? It explains it in the simplest of terms. So I tried to do that, and I like the explanation that it gave me. I don't know. I may change a few things here, right? But I think it did a really good job at that, and I really like that, right? Because it catered that generation for what I asked it, right? Which is make it as simple as possible, and I can keep iterating on that. So it does have the capability to understand the equation that I passed, which is really great. And then the last one here, I ask it to generate a game. Since it can generate like these GS, HTML, these components, right? It probably can generate interactive like components as well. So I asked it to do that, and the first time it actually asked it to generate an animation using JS of a dinosaur jumping over cactus, and you can see that it's not jumping; it's just doing the animation, right? But also the characters are not also well represented. So I iterated on it a bit, and now this is what it came up with. And this one is using 8-bit. So I think if you simplify the generation, right, of what you're trying to do, I think it will do better. And so you can iterate on this more and more and more. So start really simple, and then I believe that you can get better results by starting simple and then telling it where it went wrong, what it needs to fix, and so on. So that will be it for the Cloud 3.5 Sonnet announcement from Anthropic today. They just announced it. I wanted to do this quick video just to give you my quick thoughts about it, and very excited about where the field is going. Leave your comments if you have any questions or anything that you want me to try. I have a subscription for Anthropic, so I'll be testing it out a lot in the coming days. I'm excited about what they're doing. Their vision capabilities to me is really interesting, and obviously that artifacts feature. So leave your comments and like the video. It really helps a lot. Also, subscribe to the channel. It tells me whether you're enjoying and finding these videos helpful. And that'll be it for today, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.